everybody. I'm going to introduce you to the magnificent Nicole Borgi. And so the first time I worked with Nicole, I was on a professional level. I was a speaker on one of her summits, and I was totally impressed with how smooth it flowed and how she was able to keep the activity going in the chat and all of the things that you want to happen during your summit. I loved the fact that her emails, her promptings to us, the things that she did for the speakers were professional and they were in a timely manner. And so when it came time for me to do a summit, I knew exactly what I needed to do, and that would be to hire Nicole. I wanted to just show up and have it done. If you know anything at all about me, you know that I want to simplify things. I don't want to do things that I don't have to do. I don't want to learn new tricks, and that includes learning how to host a summit. Can I do it? I'm sure I could. Do I want to? I do not want to. Would my light shine as bright if I did it on my own? Absolutely not. That's why I went to the pros and I hired Nicole because she is the expert in hosting summits, not only hosting summits, but helping you get seen and heard in the right speaking arena. And so, one of the core beliefs that Nicole has is that there's no reason for you to speak if you're not aligned with the other people that you're speaking. And so I did have people come to me and ask if they could be speakers on my summit, to which the answer was no. Because why? Because my summit had a plan. We had a purpose ahead of time. We had gathered our power partners. They were the people that aligned with my purpose, and that's who we brought into the room. And that's one of the things that Nicole specializes in, is bringing the right people into the right room. And if you're that person, she's not going to put you or me for instance, she's not going to put me in a woodworking summit because she doesn't know that I woodwork. She's going to put me in with the business women who are trying to achieve confidence in their business, who want to be madly passionate about the business, who bring strategies and tools to help midlife entrepreneurs. And so she gets to know you by having you fill out the form and meeting with you. She knows where to place you. And so if you have a business and you feel like taking your business to the next level is to be seen and heard on the right stages and the right summits, the right speaking engagements, you need to connect with Nicole. That's why she's the power partner inside our studio. Connect with her, sit down with her in a one on one, fill out your form to get on Event Raptor, ask for her tips and tricks for presentation and how to do it best, how to reach out to people, and then back up and let her do her magic. And when she pairs you with something or invites you to be a speaker, know that she has done the work behind it and there's a reason why she's putting you in that room, and have faith in the process and let her shine for you. So, a little bit about Nicole, besides my personal experience, which is just showing up here while she puts it all together. So her talk is Beyond the Stage, Harnessing the Power of Virtual Summits. Why keep chasing podcasts, scrambling for speakers, or throwing money at events that don't convert? In this session, Nicole Borgi, aka the Digital Diva, shows you how to flip the script and build a profitable virtual summit without tech overwhelm, high cost, or burnout. You'll discover her three-part summit framework to: one, attract aligned leads; two, monetize with purpose; and three, scale without burning out. This isn't another Zoom snooze fest. It's your blueprint for turning your mission into momentum and your stage into a profit and purpose machine. Nicole is the go-to for transforming virtual events into profit-driving events. As an event strategist, speaker, and host, she brings energy, expertise, and cutting-edge technology to help nonprofits and entrepreneurs create summits that raise revenue, expand their reach, and leave a lasting impact. With For Cause Marketing, Nicole doesn't just teach how to run a summit, she shows you how to turn it into a fundraising machine that fuels your mission. Whether you're looking to amplify awareness, increase donor engagement, or scale your business, her immersive virtual stage experiences maximize results while saving time and cutting costs. Engaging, high energy presentations, captivating, insightful, and packed with actionable strategies, powerful solutions that make summits effortless, impactful, and profitable, and revenue generating summit strategies, proven systems that help nonprofits and businesses raise funds and grow fast. And with that, Nicole, take it away.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. And you know what? If you guys don't know, you should know. Colleen is an action taker, and that's why it's amazing to work with her and be part of this summit and even be on the stage as a power partner and say, hey, this is the way to go. What happens once you brand yourself, right? What's the next step? You have all your branding in place, and you know, it something's got to happen with that. What do you do next? So if you guys can see this present, we're in a little bit of a rainstorm, of course, just started as I started to get on the stage. So there may be a delay. Let me know if you can see that and just holler at me because I can't see
I
much of
can
any.
see it well. It's good.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. So, yeah, I am the digital diva and I talk about summits that seduce, attract, and align leads. That's part of your branding. You want to align with your customers. I am the digital diva. We talked about being online. Ken talked about that with her services as a virtual, being a virtual assistant, having a virtual assistant company. Laura just talked about the branding and the conversion. What do you do with it? How does it look? How do you stand out and shine? And Colleen's talking about her online digital business. It is not to negate about a live brick and mortar. It serves its purpose. You need to be there. You want to connect with people, and a summit is the way to do it. A summit actually should be in your marketing budget because what a way to generate leads. What a way to talk to your crew, your aligned leads. And what do these summits do? They build a profitable virtual summit without the struggles of high cost and tech overwhelm and ineffective leads. If you're so overwhelmed, if you're trying to do it, that was a lie that we heard growing up. We could bring home the bacon. Yes, I'm dating myself. If you guys don't know, Google The Muppet Show. Don't leave now. But the Muppets, bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, right? You remember, was it Anjali and Miss Piggy brought it home, right? We were told we should do everything. We were told we had to do everything. It's a lie. I tried it. It didn't work. But I kept hitting my head on that same wall every time I tried something new. You need help, but you need help from the right people because power partners or supposed power partners that aren't great partners and don't support you in your business or your personal life are dragging you down. People that are people pleasers, people that want to drag you down and don't want to see you make money and want to give all your goods and services away. There's thousands of dollars that if you guys go back, there's always those partners that we decided maybe to work or market with, and instead of helping us, they cost us more money. And you have to close the doors or maybe had to go back to get another job. That's happened. So the agenda today is let's look about at attracting aligned leads. Leads that go with your business. Laura just talked about it. You have to reach out. You want to stand out and shine to the right crowd. You want to monetize with purpose. If you're monetizing with purpose, it's something we're going to get into called for a cause marketing. Yes, that's for a cause. Very generic saying, but you get what it means. And scaling without burnout. That's why we're here at, in the Simplified CEO launch today because we don't want to scale all by ourselves. Hello, I'm Nicole Borgie. If you haven't guessed, it's got the little thing on the placard. I've got the logo behind me, and here it is again. Who am I? I'm Nicole Borgie. It's my name is everywhere and anywhere. That way, nobody's taken my name. If they are, well, good luck. Maybe they'll help me build my credit. But, I'm a virtual summit host. I'm a speaker, a podcaster, and a downright content creator. I love fun content. I don't like boring content. If you're going to make change, don't make change for the sake of change. Have some fun. Look at these guys are dancing. They're having a good time. I'm known as the digital diva. I'm dedicated to helping clients stand out and shine through virtual events. I like things virtual. It's not everything and anything, but we're getting into virtual reality. Those are the next few steps. It's a nail biter coming up. But if we educate or start to trust the people in our group, in our crew, in our tribe, and our power partners, we can know that we can embrace the future. If you guys are into the woo and into the energy, it's just another dimension, that virtual reality. And yes, I've held events in virtual reality, networking, and confronting domestic violence summits. And what a way people can be safe, right? And so, story time. You want to hear a story? Yes. So, what do I do? How did I get here? Well, in just before 2020, 2017, I started to get into things like health, like aromatherapy. I got into, meditation. I got into a lot of becoming an herbalist, an aromatherapist. I got into all the woo stuff and finding myself. I started volunteering in hospice. I had already volunteered with military. I worked out that with guys. I would go to their house. I was the one that would get the crotchety old guy because I love to hear his story and I can make him eat his breakfast. I can get him to have a protein shake. Yeah, I had to put a couple of Oreo cookies in there and maybe a little ice cream. But he got the Oreo shake, he got to tell me a story, and he would take a bath. So his family loved me. But in that was finding myself. I was trying to get out of a career, a 20 plus year career in law enforcement and security. Yes, I threw people out for a living. It was fun. People that didn't agree with me, people that I didn't want in the casino. Yes, I worked in Las Vegas in the casinos. I was that gal kicking you out. We were in charge of the clubs. There was a lot of stuff going on and it was busy. And the nighttime was the best time because that's where all the freaks come out at night. We had a good time. But it was time for me to change because the casinos became corporate America and I wanted to escape. I didn't want anything corporate America. I didn't want the bureaucracy. I didn't want the politics. That's why I left the police department because back then, 2000, things were changing. They weren't changing for positive. We were not getting support. And I didn't want to be sued. I didn't want to lose everything I would work hard for because I was trying to save the world, right? So I had my utility belt, I had my bat belt and all these cool things, a gun and all this really fun toys that I could play with. And I got to train with cool people. And you know what? I like guys. So who did I get to hang out with? I got to have guys, those great people to back you up and they were a team. And that's what we're here talking about today. But it was time to leave. The casinos were getting crazy, and it was time to move forward. So I started looking at business, getting on a stage, using the virtual tools, but it was hard. People were charging so much money for the most ridiculous things. I'm like, something I can do on Canva in 5 minutes, you want to charge me $3,000 to change? I didn't understand. The math wasn't mathing. I didn't get it. I'm very logical. I don't understand. You got to explain to me why this makes sense. And it didn't because the world wasn't making sense on top of it. Well, as I'm making a plan to escape corporate America, 2020 hit and I wasn't in it. I didn't like it. I wasn't in for it. So I escaped. I left everything. I quit, turned in my car, surrendered it. I let him repo it. I quit my house, my ex, everything. So it was time for me to move on. Wasn't the best way, but I don't always make, when we're in the heat of the moment, we don't always make the best decisions. However, as I'm rising and I'm in my new Phoenix, I realized that the best thing for me to do was start to look online and build a business. But I wanted a business of partners. I wanted a business with people who I can trust, who I can get to know. Trust was a big thing, and ethical, moral people. And so I'm looking for that. Went through businesses, ended up with some of the coaches. But you know what? I wanted the strong leaders, and that's why I'm here today. The other thing is I found out that it's so important to stand out and shine and talk about your business. You are the expert in your business. And how do you establish yourself as the expert? Run a summit. We know Colleen's the expert. How do we know that? Not only because she's doing the summit, she has her Monday coffee. She's networking. I see her. I met her at 6 o'clock in the morning before I had my first cup of coffee that day. But you remember these people. It's imprinted in your mind what's going on with that. Who these people are. You get to know them, and you get to. Can you like and trust them? Can you work with them? And you give them a try and you work on. But it's credibility that I was in for. And people said, "Hey, run a Facebook ad." No way. I'm going to give Facebook my money and they're going to collect my data and they're going to take all my people. I don't know if you guys remember years ago, but Facebook shut down groups of people. People were making millions of dollars. They were making thousands of dollars. They were making a couple bucks in some of these groups, but they didn't take a phone number and they didn't take an email. So when Facebook shut them down, they had nowhere to go. So I didn't want to do that. And I learned that lesson. But how do I establish a good group of people now that I'm in my other zone? Well, it was online. How can I connect to people universally? I wanted to travel. I wanted to go hiking. I wanted to go biking. I wanted to go meet friends around and travel the United States and just meet people. But in that, if I wanted to have a laptop life, I had to be online. And so I learned the hard way by doing it myself, which isn't the best way, but hey, I'm gonna GSD and get some things done here. And so I had to establish the credibility and getting to be a well-known speaker. I think things engaging and fun and talking and energy and tonality. You want to be up, you want to be down, right? We want to talk to the audience so they're not over there sleeping, right? And the audience you want to talk to, you need to talk to, you have to talk to. This is a have to and a should. Anything else, you can make your own decisions. You got to talk to your aligned leads, otherwise you're messing with your time. You're you're busy being busy, just talking to everybody and no one, and you're shouting in the void. So enough of that. Use your intuition, and that's why I put the third eye here. I want you to connect with people. I think it's so integral for you to connect with people that align, that you care, that you can have a conversation with. Because sometimes we have those conversations, we get on a one-to-one call and it's like, oh, am I really here? But thank goodness it's a Zoom call, because you can go take a shower and wash that off. If you're in person, you can't just run away and leave. But on Zoom, you can just click out and say, hey, gotta go by. That's what's great about the Zoom button. It's an escape button. Think about it that way. And it's your safety button. Sometimes it's okay to be on camera and sometimes it's not. So that's just the way it is. We want to talk about a little bit about advanced monetization techniques with for a cause marketing. And this stuff I'll get into a little bit more, and of course we'll have a little Q&A. And chime in. For a cause marketing, you've now established yourself as the expert. You got to be credible. You got to get on the stage, podcasts, summits, you want to talk. Now you're talking to your aligned leads. Now you're collecting those leads and you're reaching out through them with Colleen's simplified CEO marketing system. Why? Because of fortunes in the follow up. When you constantly connect with people that are aligned, they want to hear about you. But here's something great. Not only do you want to have sponsors for your summit, and today we have Mike Ashebrunner and with Phil Harrington from the Hounds of Business, and you want to have sponsors too. But you know what the third thing is that you want to have on your summit? Maybe a portion of your proceeds is going to go to a worthy cause. Colleen and I had a small conversation the other day, and she's a giver in the community. She's putting packages together to give to the community, and I think that's a wonderful thing. How does she do that? She runs her business, and so when Colleen runs a business, portions of those proceeds are going to something. It could be a profit, a nonprofit. Maybe you're establishing a goal. Maybe you want a Birkin bag. I don't know why. Maybe it's your thing or it's not. You can get one of those boring bags at Walmart. But if you want to pay all that money just to have the Birkin bag, you go right ahead. That's your goal. It's a different way to flip the script and talk about you, what you want, and what your journey is for a summit. So think about it and unpack it backwards. But for me, for a cause marketing is to give something back. As a chairwoman of Confronting Domestic Violence, portion of those proceeds from events gets to go to domestic violence. But seriously, folks, do you want to sit in a summit and talk about trauma? I don't know. I don't. I've lived enough of it. I had a crazy upbringing and then I lived a crazy fun life. But I don't want to talk about that every day. I want to make change. And if you want to do that, because we're all told we have to give money somewhere, we have to support the thing, whatever the thing is. Well, how about you take your life back? And as an entrepreneur, you take control. You put the money where you want to put it. Besides, speakers get to hear, hey, a little bit of the proceeds goes to something cool. Well, you know what? You want your clients now to take action. So you had the summit, you're telling them you got sponsors, support the sponsors, support the cause, buy a ticket. Now you want to take a little action and you want some aligned leads. What happens? You're ready to take action in there. The things happen, right? You get challenges, you get difficulties, high quality leads. Are they converting? Did you get on someone's stage? Did you get on the stage like I did? There was this great gal, branding and marketing. She had years of experience with large company like something like Nike. She had 10, 15 years of experience with high quality brands. People seeked her out. She had this great information. She was giving it out. She just poured her heart into it, and it was her business, it was her life. She shined when she talked about it. And you know what? Sometimes it can be boring. But when we heard someone like Laura talk about branding, it was exciting. She's in her zone of genius. And then it was me talking. Okay, so I'm talking about stages. She's talking about branding. Cool. The third person, she's talking about sex work. What does that have to do with your aligned leads? You just lost your audience. But unless the marketer and the sex therapist were working together in collaboration to market to this group of people, those leads didn't align. You just lost leads. So it's important for you to seek out your speakers. And just like Colleen had said, I choose my speakers to align. I choose speakers that will push up each other. And that's exactly what Colleen did here today. And that's exactly what she's doing with her power partners. You want to get seen and heard. That's a solution to your pain point. Your pain point is, where am I getting seen? John Cena, hey, right? So are you getting seen? Are you getting heard? Have your own stage. You've got an audience. They want to know where to open their pocketbook and send their money. If they can't find you, you're the best kept secret. Nobody cares. It's a hard truth, my friend. But you want to transform your virtual summit from just another online event into a lucrative revenue stream. Let's talk about um, sometimes it's called the elephant in the room. I don't know why, but what I love about Colleen is she talks about business, she talks about life, and it's so relatable because she talks about what's the next step for her business. What's the next step for your business? She holds a summit. She gets a sponsor. She invites people. Now she's got leads. She's got speakers. There's money in there in the membership. If people get the membership, get the membership. Here's a plug for Colleen. Get the membership. You get the VIP and the replay. So you don't have to take all the notes and break your pencil doing it. But there's so many ways to have reoccurring revenue and return on your investment. So it's a great marketing plan to really reach out to people because sometimes taking ads can be crazy. We heard about that from Lachelle a little bit ago. It can be a little daunting, all this data and research and taking it. And you're just like, what? I can turn on a camera and I can talk to people. I have a workshop, no problem, right? You want to promote, you want to monetize, and you want to profit. Look at this here. This kid is wants to travel around the world. Well, what if your goal is to pay for him to travel around the world or pay for your kids to have an amazing trip come December and Christmas? Maybe that's your goal. You got to monetize your event. Stop doing it for free. Whoever the millionaire was that said, hey, do a summit for free and don't charge anybody. They're not doing it themselves. They didn't do it in the first place. They're not doing it now because it was them that made so much money. Look at Tony Robbins. How much money has he made over the years with his infomercials and his cool stuff? But yet there is a charge somewhere in that summit. And the reason he could pay for people, millions of people to come for free, because he's generated revenue and he knows how to capture his leads. So whoever's telling you to put in all the work and to stress yourself, don't listen. Start to listen to your soul. Get your life back. So these are proven strategies that cost and okay, I can't minimize results. I can't spell. Anyway, nobody's told me that. I've used a slide before. How funny is that? Anyway, I can't spell. That's okay. But build revenue. But you know what? You want to do it without the uphill battle. Who wants to push the boulder up the hill? I'm not the strong man. I'm not going up the hill. Exercise or not, I'm not going to do that. But you want community engagement. How many times do we stop and have Q&A and talk and be personable and ask questions and get in there and really get into that juicy detail? We engaged for 3 days. How wonderful is that? When you hit that engagement, it's like the live event, right? We want to mimic a live event as much as we can. And that's what we do by bringing back life to your online event. It's like the old 80s seminars when you would go into the room and there's the real estate guy standing there. And for those of you who are listening, if you're a little going in the way, way back machine, with a seminar, a guy would come on stage. He would engage with the audience. He would talk. There'd be interviews, just like we're doing here, but it was live. Let's say it's a real estate guy. You went there, you got to go for free. You got your little badge, you get a little coffee. And the guy says to you, hey, for 5 minutes, I want the three of you at this little table here to connect. And then we're going to stop, have a break, and then we'll come back on stage. You didn't realize that in that 5 minutes, because he had asked you to do three things. He'd asked you to find a house. And so maybe at the time we weren't big on the Webernet, but let's bring it forward to today so it starts to make a little sense. It's a little more relatable. When you're looking at it now, so let's say the guy says, "Hey, I want you to go to something like a Zillow. I want you to find a house." And obviously, you're going to have to pick an area code that you think that it would be easy to sell. People are going to spend some money, right? You don't want to go to Detroit, maybe Beverly Hills. So, of course, everybody picks 90210. That's a place where people have money. And what happens is it's been 45 minutes. You didn't realize. And the guy comes back and says, hey, it was 45 minutes. You guys were talking. It was so great. I upped it. But here's the thing. Tell me about your takeaways on this. So these people looked for 90210. They found a house. They went on Zillow. And he says, okay, well, did you know if you use Zillow, and commonly people do, and you don't use a real estate agent, that that's false information sometimes. And it's like Wikipedia, it's updated by just different people willy nilly. Nobody's looking it over. So you probably got some bad information, but you found this really cool house. And that house was $1 million home. It's cheap for Beverly Hills, I know. So you thought you could just flip it. What they didn't do, and the guy brings to your attention, is he's saying, hey, when you look down here, that house has been on the market for 12 years and now it's only $100,000. You thought it was flippable. You could fix a few things, which you didn't know. You didn't ask, where's the body buried? Or is there a leak in the roof? Is that why the house is not selling? Or maybe it's the house is sliding into the ocean like California does, and nobody can have insurance anymore. So there's all these pain points, but can you solve those pain points? And that's what we're doing by being engaged and answering questions. You are the problem solver. You are the expert. You want to go out and look at social invitation. We talked about with Donna, send out cards. I know I don't have brownies on here, but you've been invited. Talk to people, engage with people. That's part of engaging. You cannot post and pray. Put something out there where you're going to talk to other people and start to engage people in different groups on different pages. Find at least one platform. Don't go everywhere and anywhere. Find one or two platforms. I know a lot of people here are still on Facebook. I like LinkedIn because I don't want to know about everybody. It's a little TMI for me. I don't want to know what you ate. I don't want to know what your bad kids or your dog is doing. But maybe you do. But where do you want to be? Where's that stomping ground? Find that stomping ground, commit to it, and start engaging, talking to people, invite them to get on a one-to-one call. And then they're going to come to your event because they know who you are. Because if your room is empty, my friend, we had over 30 people. We had several people coming in and out. And when you do that, people know that you've got an event coming up. So that's why you want to network, is because you want to have an engaged audience that supports you and is going to come back to you. You want the results. So if your audience is engaged with you, they're going to come back, they're going to buy your stuff. So again, how are we attracting aligned leads? Are you not only going to people's pages, but you also want to talk to people. You want to know that they're in the same thing. Maybe you have problems that they can solve. So my thing is summits, my thing is webinars, my thing is workshop, and I'll share that later. I've got a workshop coming up next week in the afternoon after Colleen's Monday morning coffee because I want to be able to promote it, right? So but I know people that I can talk to that are interested in learning how to run an event, how to strategize. We talked about monetizing with purpose, that's for a cause marketing, and scale without burnout, right? So let's get a little bit into virtual events. Why virtual events? Because everybody's online and you can do it universally and people can watch the replay. You can take clips. There's so much that you can do with it. And you want people to, people can always commit to a full day, but they can pop in and out. And that's what you're giving people the ability to be entrepreneurs like they are. You want client support. You want people to come in. You want them to talk to you and engage with you. You want to know that there's a client in the room. And a lot of times, folks, don't worry that not everybody showed up, that swore, promised, pinky swore that they were going to show up. You guys cut the hand, did some blood, you did that shake, right? You did the little pal, you were the little rascals there, and they didn't show up. That's okay. It's not that they didn't show up for you. Maybe something happened. Life happens, right? But you know that they're still going to support you on the next event. They need to know where you are. Have summits quarterly, especially if you have a membership or a launch or something like that. You want to have workshops in between. You can have a little quick summit. Maybe there's an event. Christmas is coming up. Have an event for your tribe. You have a membership. What are you doing to celebrate? Give them a block of a couple of hours. You want to generate excitement. You want to talk about your event. You want people to hear it. People want to share it. You got to do the DMs. You got to do the marketing out there, right? And you want to have engaging speakers. So excuse me for 1 second, guys. I'm sorry, my cold is coming in. I'll see if I can grab a tissue here. So with engaging speakers that tell stories, are your speakers telling a story? Okay, guys, really? Wake up. You can have all the slides you want, but are you engaging? Is your tonality there? You're selling yourself. You want to make sure, hey, that speaker is going to talk to your audience and they're promoting you in and of themselves. They are a commercial for your event in that time that they are there. Did you lose a lot of people? Virtual summits need to be exciting. They need to be engaging. It doesn't always have to be like a cosplay event where, you're giving the world away. We're giving a lot of freebies away. If you upgrade to Colleen's membership, you get the VIP. So you're going to get all the replays at the end, right? And so if you got some insights into this today, and if you got a little bit of something out there, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. And do you feel clear and comfortable? Do you feel like you got good value? Because it's so important to see that. And I'm going to get into the chat in a minute. Apparently, I can open it up now. And, hey, I'm Nicole Borgie, and I want to leave some time because I've got some questions for you. So thank you for having me. Going to come back on screen. Oh, I must have bumped my camera. I don't know what that is
I
about.
have a couple things to say, Nicole, while you
Yeah.
figure yourself out over there with that. First of all, I want to point out that the event that I went to last night, just a little commercial thing here. The event I went to last night was Pink Month, and we, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But my sister and I say she's my sister. I've been super good friends with her since we were 8. That's over 45 years. Boy, that's hard to do
Wow.
when I feel like I'm 35. So we had this discussion last night. But she had childhood cancer, and then she had one of the side effects of her horrible childhood cancer was being able to have cancer again. And so she also had colon cancer a few years ago. And so we do all things to support that. But I want to just say that we went to a pink event last night. It wasn't pink like Victoria's Secrets. It was pink like come dressed fabulous as you are, bring your fabulous self, making takes. But the benefit of that pink event was the what is it called? It's the period poverty, ending period poverty. And the ending period poverty month is actually May. And so what happens with your period? Like why does period poverty have a month? Like as far as I know, that's a monthly thing, right?
It's
So in one
all
month,
the time.
right. And so why in one month are we supposed to donate sanitary products and sanitary hygiene kits that are going to last a year? It doesn't work that way. I don't know if anybody has daughters. I had daughters. I don't care. I planned out in advance and bought tampons and pads and all the things they needed. I would buy what I thought was 6 months worth, and they're gone in 2 months. You can't just do that kind of thing once a year. And so we do that also in October. And we made these adorable little hygiene kits in these little sheer bags, had pads, tampons, chocolate in it, toothbrush, toothpaste, combs, some wipes, just all kinds of things in there, and made donations with those. Now, it doesn't have to be done on that kind of level. Next time you're at Walmart, pick up an extra package of sanitary supplies and then drop them at the local high school. Because here's the hard truth. There's a lot of young girls out there that struggle because their families can't afford sanitary supplies.
And that's huge. But what you're
Give
saying
them to
is,
the nurse.
yeah,
She'll make sure they have them during school. I remember I got my period. I was in fifth grade. Who's expecting their period in fifth grade?
no
No,
fun.
my teacher had to give me his coat to tie around my waist so I could get through the day.
But they
Well, I
used
didn't
to
want
keep
girls in that
clothes for you
situation.
at school, they would drive you home or something like that. That's way, way back in the way, way back machine. But the thing is that you could not do this if you couldn't afford to buy this. And
That's right.
everybody wants to give the farm away. If you do that without making money, you cannot contribute to your cause. And it's hard to find sponsors that have mega bucks.
It is. It is. And so as entrepreneurs, when we're looking at little things, make sure that we're putting our money where it makes a difference and where it means something to us. But also, don't be afraid to charge for your services. You're not just charging for your experience, your knowledge, you're charging for all of the things that you do and that you bring to the table. And part of that is what makes you human. And that is that we give back. And so make sure that you feel confident in charging what you're worth, charging your value, so you have the freedom to be the kind of person that you want to be in your life. You know, um, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that do give backs. Mike does a lot, Nicole does a lot, and there are so many ways to do it. But just even the little things, go do a $10 give back. You can afford that and do that.
Well, and like a summit, when you're hosting a summit, you're giving away freebies. Yes, you're collecting leads, but it's something that will help you. I put something in there, like I've got a workshop coming up. Come learn to strategize about what it takes to do some. It's 250 hours. My last one was 264. And I haven't put the time together for this one, but I'm starting to track it. But that's what I do. I want to be able to do that. And I have to know that I value my worth and my time and I'm giving away. And the great thing about power partners who know their worth is they're not asking you to do your work for free and then trying to charge you double,
This is
you
true.
know?
And I think that there's a fine balance too when we're working on our pricing. I think there's a fine balance between this will take me 15 minutes and this will take the person I'm doing it for 15 hours.
Right.
And so you don't have to charge them for the 15 hours,
No,
but you
no,
also don't charge them for the 15 minutes. You
no,
find the
no.
happy medium.
Oh my goodness, because in the police department, if you text us after hours, this when it started to get big, 50 they would charge 15 minutes for that on overtime. You got to bill people 15. I don't charge people that. I don't charge. It's a part of the service. And so if you're nickel and diming like that, there's no way. I mean, because how long does it really take you to answer a text or an email? Do say 5 minutes because you want to know that you're valuing and you're doing that. You're not nickel and diming, you're not gouging them, but you want to also know that you're giving to the people that you're working with. You want to know that you're giving them value. This is what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the value here. And you know what? Say it. Say that I'm giving you the value here. I mean, for me, I think it's important to say, hey, this is what we're doing right now. I want you to get seen. I want you to get heard. I want you to get paid. We're not, we're not usurping that. Like, oh, we don't talk about money. You need to talk about money. You need to have healthy discussions and you need to talk about what you're doing. And that's part of that. So being able to do that, being able to give back and how do you do it? Because when you have that discussion on money, I was working for a small AI company and I was tasked with training people. This is kind of how I really started into summits. But working for that company, I was training people to get into the event space in virtual reality and utilizing Zoom for training. And so how did we work those together? How do I onboard people? Because that's what we were selling. We were selling AI tools, and we were also selling event space to musicians. So I had to teach them how they could make money just like you do here. How do you make money online? And that's where we're going to. So we have to educate people that we want to bring in. We have to educate people where things are going. It's not the next shining object. It's here. It's been here for a long, long time. But you know what? Brings people together. How do you make money off of it? And so I did that. But unfortunately, the company thought that they didn't want to get paid, and they didn't, especially didn't want to pay me, and I should give my services away. And I said, hey, no, I got boundaries. But at that time, the good thing and the blessing from it, if you're looking for a positive ending, there was, because I taught people, trauma survivors, domestic violence awareness survivors, how to share and market their brand, how to tell their story. If you come in like a panda bear, it's a lot easier sometimes to tell your story, right? A lot of people are off camera. Sometimes it's a little bit of fear. It's not always fear. Sometimes it's a little how. But getting people into a safe space, giving them the ability to market their business, because if they're leaving from their home, that's what we do at Confronting Domestic Violence. They leave point A to go point B. Now you're in a safe space, and my camera is just my brand new camera is going crazy. Then you have to have money. And part of freedom, especially for entrepreneurs, part of freedom is making money. Where can you make money? What's that next step? So I took that tool and that skill and I put it into the next business, and I'm taking that here. And so teaching you, it's about making money. That's what it's about. It's not about throwing your money away. It's about the value of you and, of course, your voice and your branding. And how do you market yourself? You have to be on stage.
Absolutely. And I think that, just working with you, you showed me different ways to make money from doing the summit. And so that was really super helpful. I see in the chat that Donna says I'm outlining my 2026 first quarter summit as you are speaking. So Nicole, do
Awesome.
you help with webinars? How?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's great about webinars, and thank you for asking, Colleen, what's great about webinars is the fact that when you're bringing a webinar out, you're teaching a subject of what you do in your master class. Your webinar is a great way to talk to your students, your clients, your group of people, and to bring new people to a platform. Because if you have a lockdown group, they're not just going to buy into it. They want a little value. You have to give the value away. It's the implementation that they're going to pay you the pretty penny for. So when you do that, you want to have workshops, have them monthly, because not everybody that came last month is going to come this month, and everybody that's coming next month didn't come to this month, right? So there's value in those workshops and showing people the strategy and magic of what you do and implementing it on site. Give them a little bit of the spark. Like I talked about the seminars before, you want to throw three pain points in there, and then you want to add value, and you want to show them a trick or a tool in your toolbox. Don't hide it. Because if you hide it, people won't come back. They won't want to spend money with you. It doesn't have to be a whole light show and a song and dance. I mean, you can if you want to, but not everybody like me does karaoke. I don't do it. You don't want to hear me sing and dance. So have a workshop. It's valuable. Like Colleen having a workshop on, hey, this is how I work with Go High Level, and this is how I help simplify your business. So she's going to teach people. Maybe she has a little bit of a master class where she's teaching not only how the CRM system works for people, but how to gather that, maybe how to gather their thoughts together on putting content in. What's three pain points you solved? Everybody's got to write that down. What's the solution? Now get the content. Maybe you throw it and mix it in a little chat GPT if you don't have content from the past. You want to bring it back around, and you want to take the content that you've had and mix it up, put it in, shake it up, and you're regurgitating the same information, but it's a little new. It's a little fresh. You put, like Laura says, you put a little Botox on it. Maybe you put some lip gloss on a chicken lips, right, Colleen? You want to use that because if you say the same thing all the time, people hear it. That's a part of marketing and branding. People want to hear, they want to know that you're going to say the same thing. You're not going to change it up. And maybe Colleen brings in the summit. She teaches people how to write a little bit of the content. Maybe they write one newsletter, or she shows them how a newsletter template works, and then shows them the what's great about pre-scheduling some social media for 1 week. Maybe you put 3 things up and there's one newsletter. Maybe it's a month worth. Maybe people only post once a week and they want a newsletter to go out once a month. That's fine. But what do you do? How do you implement it? What are the steps? If you've got all this stuff and you're hearing, and you are one of those YouTube, Facebook people that's swiping, you've got all this content floating around and your head's full of garbage and your monkey mind's chiming in and you're like, what do I do? How do I do this? So you come to a workshop and you have Colleen solve those problems. And then she says, hey, you know what? It's hard. Why don't you just get the system? 47 bucks a month. Get the system. You got the experts. You don't have the headache. Or you know what? You really want to shine and you want to go bigger, you hire Colleen. And that's what the workshop does. It's selling. It's an infomercial for today. You're doing it. You're doing the infomercial, and that's what's important. You have to be out there. You have to be seen. You want that branded page. You want that out there. Where do you get it? If you have all the branding and you run to that and you don't do anything with it, well, good luck. You might as well stick it in a shoebox and hide it in the closet somewhere.
Exactly, exactly. And so, one of my goals for 2026 is going to be to take 1 week every month and do a webinar and just go through the different processes, walk people through. There will be different sections, one for email, one for templates, one for landing pages, one for contacts, all of the things. So people can join me there. And then, of course, I'll have those always available inside the CEO's Simplified CEO Studio, so people can see that inside the membership.
And see, when you do your workshops and you do it once a week, people know where to find you.
Absolutely.
They know that you're going to be there, that you stick to it, and that you're credible. You're there for the long haul and you're not going to run away.
Yep. And that's essential. And I think that so many people are afraid to start because they've never done that. It's just new to them. And so the option on that is to either hire Nicole to help do that, or else just do it. Do it scared. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? When I did my first, when I went live for the first time with this business, the power went out like 10 minutes in. The power went out, which meant I lost internet, I lost lights. It was in the evening, and I stood there and I thought, this isn't my first rodeo. Counted to 10, the solar kicked on, picked up right where we left off. And then the
See?
power came back on, so it flippered again, did that same thing again. And I thought, well, you know what? Here I am showing up and glowing up.
It happens. And just don't what if. Just know that it will happen. It's
Yes,
when will it happen? And so if you start looking at it that way, get it out of the way. If you don't hit the button, you don't go live and you don't get it out of the way, you know what? You could delete it.
that's
So
right. Well,
what?
and you know what it does really? The biggest thing that it does is it lets other entrepreneurs know that it's okay.
Yeah. And you know what's really great is if you can laugh at yourself and like, look, that video was really bad. Let's look at the today's one, or go back a year and in the way back
Yeah.
machine and pull it back out and say, hey, you remember this? If you don't, this is where I was. This is where I am now. Give me a
Right.
phone
And
call.
another fun fact, I decided December 27th last year that I was going to go live every week this year. I had nothing to say. Who was I going to talk to? And so I decided to do a coffee chat and have a different co-host every week and let them share their business and broadcast their business. Well, my very first one rolled around, and guess what? I lost my voice like 2 days before. And so here I am. I messaged my co-host. I'm like, look, girl, we can either cancel or you got to run with it because I can't speak. And she's like, oh, I'm just getting over pneumonia, but I've done a million of these. I'll just do it anyways. I'm like, okay, so that's a real fun thing. If you need some entertainment, go into the membership and pull up that very first coffee chat with Michelle Kuzmic. And she carried it. And she said at one point, I can hear you coughing. Are you okay? And I'm like, oh, you can hear me. It was And what do you do? You just have to show up. I had people that were planning on being there, so we couldn't just not do it.
And you cannot keep canceling for people, especially if you're doing a workshop or a summit or you're having a large meeting that you want to have. People need to know that you're committed to it, right?
Exactly.
I have a host that wants to do a celebration. She's changed the celebration date 3 times one day, and in 24 hours, she changed the time. You have people that are committing time for you, so be there, show up for them,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely. Show up. Show up is a huge part of it. Do we have any questions for Nicole? And I can't see everybody's hands, so Nicole, you're gonna have to look.
I don't see anybody, or you guys can unmute.
No
But yeah,
question.
absolutely. If you guys have questions, you can always book an appointment with me and talk to me. I'm the power partner in the system. So I mean, you've got to get out there. And you know what's great about doing a summit or having a workshop? You're doing one thing where you don't feel you have to overwhelm yourself by getting on Facebook every day.
This is true.
Um,
And the leads you get from it are phenomenal. And so um, I'm not going to put out the number of leads we got from this, but it's a really good number. I am going to ask Nicole, I want you to do two things. I want you to tell me a little bit. I mean, I've done the summit with you, I know the process. I want you to tell me a little bit more about the process of doing a webinar with you and what that looks like. And then I have another question after that. Let's do that one first.
Sure. What I would say is instead of a webinar or workshop, because the webinars are so one-faced, and I don't know why people did that. They didn't want any connection. If you're in a corporate America, go back to doing a webinar. If you don't
Oh,
want to hear people sigh, or you're afraid somebody's going to turn off their camera, or you don't want to see somebody put something in the chat and it's daunting, you don't know how to answer that. Well, one, you should have somebody that co-host with you that can answer the chat. One, you should have somebody ready with links. But the second thing is that you want to engage with people. If you're untouchable on a webinar, who wants to work with you? Because you're it's cold, right?
okay. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna back up because I'm a beginner at this, and maybe some other people are too. And I don't believe there's any stupid questions, so I'm just gonna ask my little
No.
silly question. Is the difference between a webinar and a workshop that a webinar is recorded?
Most of the time. So a lot of people, when they
Okay.
think about webinars, the webinar was the either the pre-recorded one or when you go into Zoom webinar where you have no connection to people and you can't see people, can't they can only see you and they can't connect with each other in the audience. But that has turned into more of a workshop where you're having a connection with people who can have a Q&A like they are. So it's just a small version of a summit. And so when you do a workshop, you want to do it maybe for an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how much engagement. I would give a cushion. And maybe the first time nobody shows up, but you record it. Don't tell anybody nobody showed up. You record it and put it on YouTube. Who knows? They don't know. They don't know. They didn't come. How would they know?
Okay, so I'm gonna say on that I'm just, are you guys ready for the cheat code? Let me tell you how to get people to show up. And I'm so grateful and blessed that I'm in a position where I'm not having to utilize this service right now. But inside the Midlife Entrepreneurs Networking Connection or the Entrepreneurs Networking Connection, which is my Facebook group, I have a list of people that will show up for you.
Oh,
And
that's
so
awesome.
you just reach out to them and say, hey, would you please, this is what I want. This is my ask. Would you please show up for my workshop, my webinar, my seminar, whatever you want to call it, my summit if you needed them to, for free and critique it for me and give me a testimonial, an honest testimonial afterwards. And there are people
100%.
with other business owners that will do this for you. And this is a service, and sometimes I have people reach out to me and they're like, hey, I only have like 3 people showing up. Can you show up and keep the conversation going and help me with that? And I am so happy to do that. So if any of you are ever throwing an event like that and you need that kind of help, please call me. I would love to be there for you, to support you like that, to bring a VA or two, if whatever we need to do to make it so that it positions you as the authority figure, number one, and also you're more comfortable because we're there and you know that it's not going to be speaking to an empty room and you know that the interaction will be there, those kinds of things. It's just a little
You
bit of
want
the things that we
community
can
and you
do
want
to help.
engagement, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's
that's
just a
what we
little,
talked about with networking and community and engagement.
yeah.
And you do that for someone, they will do it for you, and you want to keep those partners together, and you want to find that support. And you want to help people out. Just show up for a little bit, put and have something to say, more
Yes.
than, hey,
If you
nice
don't have
blouse.
something, ask ChatGPT what to say. They'll
Yeah,
tell you.
ask some questions. Give your
Yeah.
friend some questions. It could be your bestie, it could be your sister, it could be your neighbor, maybe not your neighbor's dog, but you have somebody that should show up, that will show up for you, and definitely you're beta testing it. And it's a great way to connect with people and nurture communities so that those people will show up. So it depends on how you want to get those communities. But if you have a community, you have a tribe, you have a support group or a Facebook group that you support, let those people know. Let
Yeah.
them know that but the other thing is show up for them.
Yes.
So they show
Absolutely.
up for you. And I think Donna had a question here.
Yeah. Donna, go ahead.
Yeah, really great information, Nicole. I'm so glad that you presented today and that I got to see it. Um, my question is, I heard there's some changes in the Facebook event feature on Facebook. And when you're going to do a webinar or a workshop, where's the best place to put it? Eventbrite, Facebook? Um, I know that we can put it in the vault for the membership, for Colleen's membership, but beyond the vault, where would you recommend promoting a workshop or an event?
Sure. So good question. So what I will say in my experience, Zoom used to have calendar links for events. It was like a Zoom Us or something. But you're not really going to get marketed. You can find it because you know to search for it. Eventbrite does the same thing. Eventbrite used to work well. Meetup charges you an extraordinary amount of money for stuff they used to give away for free. So why didn't they charge $5? So really, it's like, look, are these communities supporting you? And are people still on the platform? Talk about rebranding. Look at what other companies did that used to support you that no longer support you. So you're paying a lot of money, but did you have a group that supported you in there? So maybe not so much, don't be in there. If Eventbrite, we did an event for confronting domestic violence a year ago and we got on Eventbrite. Well, first of all, they charged a nonprofit an extraordinary amount of money. They still, okay, you want to spend money. We put that in the budget. We put everything up. They wanted to charge us like quadruple that we could do it. And good thing that I had some tech experience. So I kind of kerfluffled through it and helped her. We got it all listed. And then the third thing is once we got it out, Eventbrite waited until we published the event to tell us we had to pay for marketing in order for our event to be seen. So they ghost you. They will not put it up. It's hard to search. It's not searchable. There's no like SEO stuff and all that big stuff in there. It's very hard to find it, and they charge you an arm and a leg and still don't support you. Facebook changes all the time. That's why I don't like Facebook. I'm out of there. Um, they charge all the time. They change all the time. It's like you shouldn't change weekly. There's no reason to update just to update because you can. But what I will say is I like LinkedIn because you can invite them. You can get that mighty tool or whatever. And that's in some of the communities. But what's great about LinkedIn is that you can invite 1,000 people a week. People can ignore it if they want to. They don't have to tell you that they don't want to go or they can't go. They can just say, hey, I can ignore it, or yes, I want to accept and support you at least on your LinkedIn page. And then people can engage with you. So it's good to have some type of page. So if you have a Facebook group, I'm not saying don't do it, use it for what it is meant for because they're taking the leads and your data anyway. But what I will say is the reason I asked, what we talked about with Colleen was to have speakers listed on Event Raptor. The reason being is A, it's free for the speakers. B, there's a web page that was created, so I created a web page. So when you click the registration link, all the speakers and everybody's information is there. If you get a VIP, you get a VIP link, and all the speakers get it. You get to watch the recordings on there, and your stuff is there forever. So not only does the event host get promoted, and Steve and Jenny promote you on the LinkedIn page, they promote you in their Facebook group. So they promote the event anywhere. And I reshared something that Jenny Erickson from Event Raptor supported. There's 3,500 speakers that are listed and visible in Event Raptor. If you want to speak after the event or you want to host another event, you're establishing credibility within a community of speakers that need a stage. Boom. You don't pay for that. So that's part of one of the platforms that I share with my clients because I want you as a speaker, as a host, to be seen and heard. So I'm giving you a lot more visibility within that. That's a great community because they do have networking for speakers. So you want to be in those communities that see you and put you in shine. Don't start paying for stuff that you don't need it. If you need it, fine. I mean, and I'm the kind of person to say, hey, I don't use it, but maybe it's something that can work for you. And does that answer the question?
Do you need a paid version of LinkedIn in order to do a LinkedIn event? I never thought of that as a
Nope.
platform to
Nope.
promote a webinar or a
Nope.
workshop on. So I learned it from Mike Asherbrenner from what
Yeah.
he did.
Hmm.
But so you answered no, you don't need a paid account.
You don't need a paid account because a paid LinkedIn account doesn't give you anything else besides what you had because you can still only go through 1,000 people. You cannot immediately download the list of attendees, but you can get either an AI bot to harvest the information, or I know I'm talking about leads, guys, and everybody's like, oh, I don't want all my information. You're out there. But it's great for a host to go in there and say, hey, or individually, you can, and that's what I do is I provide leads too, is that that information you can retarget. So all those leads are yours. There's no real easy way to do it. It is a little bit time consuming, but worth it because these people you talk to and how many people that have clients need to give some gratitude. So you're a person they need to connect with.
Thanks so much, Nicole.
Yeah, you're welcome.